Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Gail, and I'm here with Bill Myers, and we're going to talk to you this morning about working with social media. And are we sharing your screen, Bill?
We are.
Looks like we are? Great. So we just wanted to start with a little bit of introduction and some information about what we're currently doing with social media on our job postings. And so I'm Gail Rushford. I'm the Recruitment Services Supervisor here for the Department of Human Resources.
I'm Bill Myers. I'm a talent acquisition consultant here working alongside Gail.
Literally alongside Gail.
Yeah.
And let me just see. I see I have a question coming in, so I just want to see if there's anything that we need to check on. People are saying hello. That's nice. So if we do have all attendees muted today, we just find that there's a lot better quality if we mute the participants because otherwise we get a lot of background noise, which is really hard. I see that some people have their hands raised, which I think is probably not intentional. But if you do want to get our attention, you can raise your hand. There's a little icon to the left-hand side of your GoToWebinar toolbar, and you can raise your hand that way, and we'll check in with you. Or you can use the chat function to send us a question, and we can respond to you that way. So I think what I wanted to do first is just show you, I'm going to make myself the presenter. I just want to show you some information that we have on our website. And so this is, and I'm just going to stop the webcam for now, as soon as I find that little icon to do that. So this is the Department of Human Resources website. One thing you may not know is that on this website we have links to social media where we are posting job openings. So as I scroll down, I want you to see that we have our tweets go onto our Department of Human Resources homepage. So the last one was the July edition of HR Connect. This is the DHR tweet page. We have our own Twitter account for recruitment that Bill will show you in a little bit. And then I want you to see that we have also the most recent post from the DHR Facebook page. I'm going to go to our Facebook page. And there's this really annoying thing that Facebook is doing now. I didn't mean to click on the cover photo, which is they're doing this thing to get you to log in. So I would prefer to show this to you, just kind of the external view without being logged in, but it's really kind of a pain in the neck. So I'm going to log in really quickly. Try to remember my password in one fell swoop. So this is the DHR Facebook page, and this is our home page. So what happens here on our home page is that, well, first of all, you're seeing a lot of unnecessary extra information because I had to log in. Get that out of your way. It's all set now. And we have this pinned right now. So this little survey that Bill has started doing with applicants is something that we've pinned to the top. We'll probably unpin that before too long. It's been up there for about a month now as a pinned post. And then as you scroll down, one of the things that's happening with our job postings is that we have identified some hard-to-fill target areas with a vendor partner that we have called CareerArc. And what CareerArc does is randomly pick up, oops, I didn't mean to click on that. CareerArc randomly picks up jobs that we've identified as hard to fill, and it puts them on our Facebook page, one job twice a week. So the last one that was promoted in that way was the case aid job opening that we have. That was promoted on Tuesday, and then on Saturday last week, a civil engineer was. So that's a randomized feature that we have. The other thing that we wanted to show you is that we do have an open jobs tab in our Facebook page, and what this does is it puts every single job opening that we post onto this page. So if you were so inclined, you could go out onto our open jobs page, find a job opening that you were promoting, that you have an interest in, and you can like or share it to leverage your own personal networks in order to pick up that information. So one thing that we wanted to do is just start with a quick little poll. And I keep undocking things, which I don't mean to do, so excuse me while I get organized here. So the first poll that we have for you is, what social media resources do you use on a regular basis? So I've launched that poll. I'll just give you a couple minutes to answer this. Do you use Facebook? Do you use Twitter, LinkedIn, or maybe something else? And other might include Instagram or other social media accounts like that. But we asked you about the big three. Okay. So about 3/4 of the folks have voted right now, so I'm going to close the poll. I'll give a couple more votes coming in. So we're up to about 80%. So basically at this point, almost 80% of you, 79% say that you use Facebook on a regular basis. 24% are using LinkedIn. Hardly anybody is using Twitter. There's 11% are using Twitter, and 18% are using other. So that's interesting information, and I'm now going to turn this over to Bill, and he's going to talk about how you can leverage your presence in these platforms in order to help promote your job openings.
Great, thank you, Gail. That poll was very telling, which is good. It kind of will dictate a little bit how we kind of present the content today, because it seems like not a lot of people are using Twitter. So I do have some slides about Twitter, but I think in the interest of time, I will probably not go over like sharing through Twitter. I do have them, and I can send them as a handout to people if they want, a PowerPoint on how to use Twitter better. If they have an account, just haven't used it a lot. But we won't spend a lot of time on that. Gail already talked about Facebook, and so I wanted to talk about using LinkedIn as a tool. So
this is so we just got one comment before you got going. One of our participants said, and you didn't give us an option for saying we don't use any social media.
Okay. So maybe you'll start after this. maybe you'll see that it's not so, that it's something that could be useful. If you are, looking to find candidates, leverage your networks and things like that. So just to get started, this is going to be kind of the very basic information for getting started with LinkedIn, and going under the assumption that people don't have profiles, or maybe they do have profiles, but just kind of the basics of getting a profile up and running on LinkedIn. And then after that, I'll go through sort of, the way you can share out things very easily. It doesn't. There's one method that's pretty easy. One method takes a little bit more work. But I'll go through both of them. I'll probably go, fairly quickly through them. But I do have these in PowerPoint too, so you can have them. I can send you the PowerPoint also. So if you want to kind of go step by step on how to do these things. So the first thing is, obviously, if you don't have a profile, go to LinkedIn.com, and you can create one. There's no charge. They do have certain levels where you can pay more and get a more premium profile. But for this reason, for the sole purpose of kind of networking and kind of trying to reach out to your network to try to find people for roles that you are searching on, you don't need to pay for any type of profile. So basically, if you go to the LinkedIn homepage, there's a place over on the right-hand side where it says, join, create a profile, start today, and then it will pop up this box here, which is kind of just the registration box. You can just create your own profile from there, or you can use Facebook actually, and you can just click that, and with your Facebook login credentials, you can create your profile that way too. So that's kind of the two ways. And then I wanted to kind of go over some of the areas that we are must-have. So try to do this in 30 minutes or less, because I know everybody's pressed for time, and I know a lot of people don't want to spend a lot of time setting up a profile. But there's just a couple must-haves that I just want to stress. And the first one is a summary. kind of highlighting your career and your accomplishments. Speaking about the jobs you typically hire for, kind of highlight some of those jobs. And then your experience. So don't just have, the place you work and how, just that, and then just have no content underneath it. In your experience, talk about your current role, what you do, not just the title, but kind of what you do on a day-to-day basis. Some of the things maybe you like about your working at the state of Vermont, your job, or the state, just as an employer in general. If it's been less than 5 years, try to add one more job experience if applicable. Good at least 5 years of background is preferable. So that's the must-have, and that's really it. Just 2 must-haves, and then you're ready to go. Nice to haves, I really think, and it's sort of been proven through a lot of studies that LinkedIn's done, is having a profile picture. It kind of creates a sense of connection to the potential job seeker, to the network, those types of things. So, having a profile picture, nice to have, and it just kind of makes that professional connection. Business attire, if you don't have a job where you go to work in a suit every day, it's okay not to have that. You can do something like a recreational type of picture, like if you're skiing or riding a bike or running or something. That's also good too, but generally a good headshot's best. Groups. Joining groups that are likely to have members of your, kind of the industry or the kind of the skills that you would be searching for is a good thing. There's a gazillion groups on LinkedIn, and I'm sure you could find one that kind of relates to the type of jobs you're looking for, or you're looking for people. And you can join up to 50 groups. Must-dos. Obviously, spell and grammar check your content when you put it up there. Just make sure that everything's spelled right grammatically. It looks good. I think that helps with people if they're kind of checking out a potential role and they go to check out your profile. Just that it has the spelling and grammar, is there is always a good thing. Less is more. Be as brief and concise as possible. Get the point across, but you don't have to go into too much detail. Like one or two short paragraphs in your summary or your experiences is fine, and then just have a positive tone to how you kind of describe your role and why you like working at the state and those types of things. So just to kind of highlight these things.
So we have a question, Bill.
Okay.
A couple things. One is people indicate they're having a hard time hearing, so I did increase the volume. If you're still having trouble, maybe raise your hand and let me know. But the question that we got was, when you're creating a LinkedIn profile, is this a suggestion more so that a hiring manager would create a LinkedIn profile, or would a department or division do a profile?
No, this is the hiring manager specifically. This is for individual profiles. We'll talk about. I'll get to the point of where we're talking about the company or the organizational profile, because we have a general, state of Vermont company profile on LinkedIn. I'll show you that and sort of where we're going with that. But for these terms, we're talking about individual profiles as a hiring manager, because this is the way you're going to connect your network, and this is, they're going to connect directly to you. Some departments do have LinkedIn profiles, but for these purposes, we're talking specifically about an individual one. So looking at I pulled mine up, some screenshots on mine, looking at that. So the summary, and we're going to go live and go through this kind of live too, but I'm just kind of getting this out here, kind of just the areas. But talking about the summary, that's the important part. That's kind of right at the top. Experience. I kind of went through. I've only been here a couple months, so I have underneath that. I make sure I have kind of quite a few years of experience to kind of show sort of the journey I've taken to get to where I am today. So just those are the two major areas, like I said, are the must-have areas. It's really those two: the summary and the experience. And then the nice-to-have areas, the profile picture, although mine's scary, but having a good profile picture is good. And then the groups. So you'll see all these things as you start to build out your profile. You'll see areas. It's pretty intuitive. LinkedIn's pretty intuitive with giving, showing you how to get to these things when you're building up a profile. And then if you want more information, there are online tips on how to create a great profile. There's a link in this PowerPoint, so if you want the PowerPoint presentation, I'll send it to you. You should just click the link and go from there. Okay. So so that's kind of the way we go as far as the setting it up, and then kind of socializing your jobs after you've got your profile set up. That's kind of the next step in this. And so one way to do it is to connect with the DHR employees who have social media posts about state jobs on their LinkedIn newsfeed. And that's right now, that's Gail and myself. Gail, I talked earlier about CareerArc, which is the social media tool that automatically pushes out. So basically, CareerArc connects our LinkedIn accounts to their social media postings. So at a certain cadence, certain timing, they put jobs on our newsfeed. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. So good idea to connect with Gail and I on LinkedIn once you have your profile set up. These will show up on your LinkedIn newsfeed, but they won't be seen by your connections yet because you're just connected to us. So where you really need them is on your newsfeed, and how you do that is by liking or sharing the posting. So you'll see I kind of highlighted and kind of enlarged underneath it. There's a like or a share. Both of them will make them show up in your newsfeed. However, share gives you the ability to kind of share it with other social media, LinkedIn groups, as I talked about, your correct connections, and Twitter. If you do have a Twitter account, you can share these also while you're sharing them on your newsfeed in LinkedIn. You can also share them on Twitter at the same time without having to go to Twitter and do a separate tweet. So just going through some of the points. So when you go to hit that share button, here's kind of the box that will pop up. As the hiring manager, you may want to put in some selling points, kind of your personalization of why this may be a great opportunity. You do want to share with the public. I think the public are connections, but I don't see any harm or anything to sharing with the public because even if they're not connected to you, somebody could go and see potential postings of potential job opportunities. So that's what that drop down is about. I talked about the Twitter. If you have that checked off, once you put your update information in here and hit share, it'll also push it to Twitter. If there's groups on LinkedIn that you belong to and you want to share to them, you just start typing them in, and they'll come up, they'll auto-populate, and you can kind of personalize that with discussion titles, stuff like that. And then you can send to individuals. If you know particular people who may be interested, or they may know but somebody who's interested, you can share it there. So those are kind of the areas where when you're sharing it. So it's a pretty quick form. You can get it done in a couple of minutes to share out jobs. So what I want to do now is look at the LinkedIn profile. So this is mine. This is my live one. So if you look at it, it's sort of, I have my summary. I try to do it in bullet points, kind of just things that I've gone through my career, so people can get a good picture of what I'm all about. And then going through my experience, what I'm currently doing and what I've done in the past. Mine's kind of lengthy, but again, like I said, just go back 5 years if you want to. You don't have to make it your whole life story. Good things to have are links. So this is a link to the career site on our DHR career site. Pictures also kind of are more kind of engaging and eye-catching. So this is what you would see if you were connected to it. So I'm going to go to this page, which is actually in edit mode. So this is where you would edit and this is the default, so you would edit your profile. So if you mouse over some of these things, you can see that you see the pencils, and so you can edit any of these areas. Your summary, you can change it at any time. You just go make changes. You can change the sequences and things like that. You can add things if you have certain certifications, if you worked on any interesting projects you want to talk about. Job seekers like to hear that. Oh, it's a project that maybe is interesting to me. I'd like to work on something like that. Any publications you wrote, any other things, but that's really it. That's really it. And so, like I mentioned, the summary and the experience is the only two places to get started, you really need. You can go down and there's groups and things like that. You can get recommendations and referrals. So this is all kind of, optional, but that's kind of, there's a million places here. Scroll on, but there's groups. You can join up to 50 groups. those types of things. So that's really the profile in a nutshell. And again, I know I went fast, and there may not, you might have a lot of questions. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them. But I'll also send this PowerPoint out to people so that they can, kind of do it at their own pace and kind of go along with the PowerPoint and setting things up and just kind of poking around. So on my news feed, you'll see, so home is basically news feed. It's basically the same as your wall, what do you call it, the same as your on your Facebook page if you're on your home page, kind of the feed of posts and things like that. So you'll see a lot of things there. There's a lot of sponsored content. There's a lot of things that I think they're starting to get irrelevant about, but mostly once in a while you'll see things about roles, people post jobs. So this is the area of where you would see the job that Gail and I would have on our news feed if we were connected to you. So these would show up on your news feed, but they won't show up to your connections like I had mentioned. So I'm going to just pretend here, go to my updates, and so you would see these things pop up if you were connected to me on your news feed. And so job openings, there's certain job openings here. There's other things I like and share for other things too, but this is kind of, you would see these on your news feed. So I'm just going to go into one and show you sort of what I was talking about sharing. Oops, that's not where I want to go. All right, so here we go. I'm sorry. So like I said, you can like or share, and then again, same interface here. You can personalize it there. You can decide who you want to share with. If you ask to if you want to post to groups, that'll just open up that part of that. Will open up that part of the dialog box. If you want to send it to individuals, you can send it to individuals too. So that's kind of what I had mentioned earlier about how to share. So that's really how to share those posts that you see in your news feed with your network. Hopefully that makes sense. I know I went fast, but again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. The other thing I wanted to show really quickly is this is our state page. So it doesn't look great right now. There's not a lot of content on it. We are going to do better. We're going to start managing it from a DHR perspective to post content and have it more recruiting centric. So we're going to be working on that. But you will see something on the side here under careers. If you're interested in the state of Vermont, and they do post some jobs. These are posted with a LinkedIn recruiter account, which is a separate thing I won't go into. You don't need to be worried about that. But if you see over here, see jobs, that career arc social media tool pushes all our jobs to LinkedIn. So this is another easy way of sharing the job. So if you see, you'll see a list of jobs. You can sort it by most recent. If you want to look for a particular job that you're searching for, it's a role that you're searching for your group, and click on it. It'll have the LinkedIn skin, and it'll be like a job posting that somebody had posted on LinkedIn. The great thing about this is what you can do right from here is you can share it. Again, you can share it to all social media. You have to authorize LinkedIn to share things to Facebook, to Google+, and to Twitter. So this is another quick way. So if you don't see in your news feed something that was from Gail and I's news feed that you want to share out, you can go here and find your specific job and share it out from this perspective too. So there's just a couple ways of doing it. And I don't have slides on this yet. I'm going to build slides because this is a relatively new development that I just became aware of. And then, but I'll send out slides on how you do that. But it's a pretty simple process. It's basically a couple clicks of a button to share those jobs out on LinkedIn. And so that's really it for that. I do have information on Twitter. I'll just briefly show you our Twitter.
Just hold on a second. So I have a question about LinkedIn for you. So the question is, what is the state's position on ads that show up as part of LinkedIn? Do we have any concerns about a perception of us endorsing those ads?
So there's a couple different ads. There's the ads that are just kind of on your profile that are paid ads by companies, and then there's also sponsored content in your news feed. So the sponsored content in your news feed is only seen by you. So you as the LinkedIn account holder only see the sponsored news feed, and what happens if they're looking at your profile? If they happen to be looking at your profile, there's ads that are going to come up on the side, but it's not, you know, there's no specific ads connected to us as an entity. So LinkedIn is, you know, uses obviously a lot of data analytics to say, okay, this person may be interested in this person may be interested in that, but you're only going to see ads on LinkedIn the person on LinkedIn is only going to see ads that are relevant to their own personal profile. So the job seeker is only going to see ads that are relevant to the job seeker's profile, and nobody's going to see sponsored content that's on your news feed. That's only for your eyes.
While you're bringing up that Twitter, and we have a few more minutes, let me launch a poll while you're bringing up the Twitter to share with people.
Okay.
So, because we want to give you a little bit of context about why we're even, why we think this is important. So what social media platform do you think applicants are most likely to use for job searches? And go ahead and answer that poll question. And do you have that graphic? Oh, I don't have it on me.
Okay.
Okay. So, actually, let me come back to that poll because I went and looked at something else while we were answering the poll. There it is. So 68% are answering LinkedIn, 53% are answering Facebook, 8% Twitter, and 24% are saying other. So what's the answer, Bill?
So interestingly enough, it's Facebook is the highest amount, and then Twitter is second, and then LinkedIn is actually last. They're pretty close. I mean, Twitter and LinkedIn are actually pretty close, but it's actually Facebook where most of people look for jobs. The opposite of that is recruiters or people who are hiring managers look for people most often on LinkedIn. Sorry, so LinkedIn is the #1 search social media tool for the recruiter or the hiring manager, but Facebook is the #1 search for job seekers.
So the next question that we had was, does DHR automatically post our job ads on LinkedIn, or will hiring managers be expected to do so in the future? So for now, they're automatically going into LinkedIn in that path that Bill showed you. But what we're saying to you guys as hiring managers is you can raise the profile of that. You can leverage it and get more exposure. People aren't coming necessarily to look at our page. Your network is going to learn about your job opportunities through you. And one of the reasons why we think this is important and why we're focusing on social media is because we know that the best way to find good candidates, or one of the best ways to find good candidates, is through your own networks. It's through those personal contacts. That's how applicants expect to find work now, and social media really makes it easy for us. And we're just trying to give you these tools that you can use to reach out to your own networks. We always want to reach outside of our networks as well because we want to diversify state government, but it's very powerful to reach out to the people that are in your professional circles.
And if you look at the other interesting thing on the bottom of that graphic is Instagram is 31%. So it's not too far behind it for job seekers looking. So it's an up-and-coming social media job search tool.
You want to pop through the Twitter real quick?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm sorry. So this is our DHR recruitment Twitter account. There's another one for just DHR, but this is the one where that CareerArc social media tool that Gail had mentioned pushes the jobs to. So if you look, you'll see, and this is on a periodic. There's a lot of criteria and kind of algorithms that go into what's getting posted on here. But at certain times, during the day, it's scheduled at certain times. It's scheduled at certain times, so it's not putting things on Twitter at 3 in the morning Eastern, so that it's going to get buried in somebody's, news feed. So that we're only posting jobs to Twitter during kind of the workday, Eastern time zone workday, so that people will see them during that time, and they will get more eyes on them. So you'll see there's different. It puts different images. That's sponsored content, but it puts images on on some of them because we have been told by our social media career arc that, we need to have images on there that'll get more eyes on it and more interest. So you'll see just a typical tweet here. It has a headline, kind of like a hook into this and some hashtags. It generates the hashtags based on the location, jobs, those types of things, a few different things. And then it puts a nice little kind of branding of the logo in the title, and then sort of a little caption on the picture. So from here you can click the link and it will go right to the state's state's page, career page, and right to the job, so you can apply directly.
The one thing we wanted to mention about that is the pictures are randomized also. We don't control which pictures go with which tweet, so we just try to provide some somewhat generic pictures in order to keep images present in our thing. And if you could scroll down a little bit too, Bill, I just want to show people, I forgot to mention when we were on our Facebook page, let's go back up to the map. So the map is a feature that CareerArc, our vendor, provides to us. It's a really cool feature, and that's also on our Facebook page. So that actually, when we meet with CareerArc on our metrics, that's one of the primary ways that job seekers are interacting with us.
Correct. Yep. And then if anybody does want to use Twitter, kind of get notified. So you don't have to go if you want to retweet any of these jobs. Obviously, if people use Twitter now, you just hit the retweet button and it'll go to your own Twitter news feed. But if you want to get notification every time DHR sends out a tweet, you can just kind of go here and go to your mobile. I have it on, but if you get, it'll say turn on mobile notifications, and it will, as long as you have a mobile phone connected to your Twitter account, it'll send you, or the Twitter app. Actually, you don't even need mobile phone number. You can get text ones too, but as long as you have the Twitter app, it'll send you by mobile phone the jobs that are getting posted on the Twitter feed, and you can just hit from your mobile phone, just hit the retweet if it's something that you want to share.
So we're over our end time, and we want to respect the time that we set for this, which was about 30 minutes. So we're going to wrap up now, but if you have any follow-up questions, we'd be glad to answer them. You can send them to us at the DHR recruitment inbox. Let me just send that to you in chat right now. So it's dhr.recruitment. Make sure I spell recruitment correctly, at vermont.gov. And anything that you send to that email can get to anybody in the recruitment staff, including Bill.
Yep, and this is my contact information. If you want, reach out to me anytime, my phone, my email. So if you have any questions, I will send out the slides so that I know we went really fast. I'm going to say it again. So I know that's a lot of information in a short time. So if you do want the slides to kind of go at your own pace, I'm happy to send it out. I'll send out the ones with the Twitter information too.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.